Hey YouTube, it's Ryan. This is gonna be a Southern Charm recap. I'm just gonna hit record on the old GarageBand for the podcast, but I wanted to say a quick hello before we start. Ready? This is kind of a good episode, I think. Here we go. Bappa do bappa dee dee dee. Indeed, folks. We are talking our friends over at Southern Charm. What a mess of a show. But I gotta tell you, it is one of those shows that I find enjoyable to watch, but you really can't get away from there is a boys club in Southern Charm. I'm stating the obvious, of course, but these men, if you want to watch a show that where men never really learn, then let me introduce you to these men over at Southern Charm. The only one that kind of learns is Craig, but there's such a fascinating conversation that happens at the end of this where Shep's all yelling and stuff. But like, there seems to be that, like, it almost feels like, I mean, they bullied poor Craig into like a psychosis. Like, he seems like he's so shook up from like being teased by Shep and Whitney over the years. I mean, like, he truly seems like, I'm like, did they do something? Like, did they tie him to a bed and like whip him or something like that? Like, I'm like, is there something more going on? Because I don't understand Craig's sometimes reaction anytime he has a few drinks. He's like, you betrayed me, man, and you screwed with me. You fucked my head up. Like, I'm like, is Craig okay? This is what I'm like. I do kind of wonder sickly what Paige thinks when she watches this show. Is she like, Craig, you all right, man? Like, like, do we need to be worried about Craig? Like, he seems like he had everything going for him, but he's fragile and he's sensitive. I'm the most sensitive too. Like, I am so, you could blow me down with like 2 words. But Craig seems really sensitive for somebody that seems like they have everything going for them completely. Are we liking the most? Yeah, I think the mustache. By the way, this is on YouTube too, you guys. I was checking out my mustache in the still have the mustache, by the way, folks. Just wanted to let you guys get a little mustachio update. I feel like the Southern Charm men would all Whitney has kind of a mustache, and I don't like that. I don't want to be like Whitney. And also, we got to talk about the Whitney of it all. It's truly, I don't know, trying to put my finger on it, but it sometimes feels, remember, Whitney is one of the producers on Southern Charm. And I believe he came up, or one of the people that came up with the concept for this show. So he has a big hand in this. And I always sometimes feel that that's how he's treated by most everybody, is that they kind of not kiss Whitney's ass, but like almost tolerate Whitney, because I think they kind of make fun of him potentially behind his back. Or even when the makeout thing happened with Naomi, they were kind of like, what? Oh my God, you did what? And Whitney is truly a character. But I also find it fascinating that he used to have a bigger part on this show. And then I wonder if his feelings ever got hurt because he listened to people's reactions about himself and was like, you know what, I'm better behind the scenes. But he's actually making more, he's in this season more than he's been in previous seasons. So I'm just truly curious what the decisions there are. Remember last week we had the dog wedding, hey, move over, Benifer. We got a couple dogs that had a nicer wedding than you potentially. So this is Southern Charm episode 9. God, it's only been 9 episodes. I feel like we've been talking about this forever. It's called Aldebras Glitters is Not Gold. Aldebra. Okay, so very clever title, you guys. They're visiting this Frank Lloyd Wright house that Whitney's friend loaned them, because that's what rich people do with each other. You don't like loan a car or something, or you loan a big Frank Lloyd Wright house. That's how rich people do it. Like, here's my luxury home. Here's have my luxury home. I'll let you borrow it. And it's called Aldebras, but they're doing the All That Glitters Is Not Gold, which is one of my favorite lines in a Kanye West song. So clever title, Southern Charm. And we start off with Naomi. Naomi, by the way, I feel like I've been kind of judging her voiceover intros because she's been doing the previously on Southern Charm at the beginning. And she started off rocky, but I feel like she's finally finding her footing. I feel like she's really starting to get the hang of the narration. She's like, previously on Southern Charm. And we immediately get Chubbs, which is Chleb, which is Caleb. Caleb, remember, that's how you say his name. that's Kathryn's boyfriend, or was Kathryn's boyfriend. You spell it Chleb, and I've translated that to Chubbs. So Chubbs is like, do you want to move past this, Kathryn? And Kathryn's like, we've just had a lot of issues, and it's hard not to lose a little bit of momentum. Well, and then she's like, while Kat and Caleb weren't planning a trip to the altar anytime soon, there were wedding bells ringing. Ba-ba-doo. I love how in these scenes they intersperse the ba-ba-doo-doo-doo. And we see that the dog wedding, we see little shots of that, and we see Shep going, little Craig, don't worry, you can always get a divorce, because Shep can't commit. And Naomi goes, yep, Shep's dog got married before him, putting everyone in the mood for love, except the best man, who wasn't thrilled his ex was the maid of honor. That's right, Austen and Madison. And then we get, times have changed, don't you know? Ooh, ooh. That is a bop. That is a song and a half. I love that song so much. And then and to add insult to injury, it's Olivia's date, which put Austen in the mood for revenge. By the way, can we stop? I feel like we give Austen such a pass of in the mood for revenge. The guy wanted to get his dick wet, plain and simple, and thought, oh, Sierra, she's let me put things in her before. Let me go do that again because she's hot. I mean, I don't know. And by the way, shame on you, Paige, for letting this happen. I mean, we truly saw Sierra get shook by Austen. Remember, Sierra was in a bad place over how, and then she's like, do you know our friends in town? Throw her to the wolf, what are you doing? I don't know. And he was just going yeah, I'm just pissed Olivia brought a date. Would you want to be hooked up with? And that was the reason that you guys got together. He's got more honey than any honeybees. Meanwhile, I decided to find out why Craig was so moody. You're not going to find that out in an hour. And it was that scene last week where Naomi was like, Craig, let's meet for tea. And he's like, oh, fine, I don't want to, but I'll meet you. I'm going to pick up Paige. And she's like, what is it, Naomi? Can't you tell me over the phone? And then we had the scene from the wedding last week where she wanted to have another private conversation with him at the party that Paige was at. And he's like, what is this about? And she's like, I can't tell you until we chat. And Naomi goes, I should have let sleeping dogs lie. And Craig going, you've never been in my situation. You left a loving relationship for a controlling dude who cheated on you. Honestly, Naomi, you don't affect my life anymore. You just don't, Naomi. When are you going to get it through your head? Maybe that new nose has screwed your brain up because you don't mean anything to Craig Conover anymore, man. And I'm going to go cry on a pillow that I sewed. It's easy as making you think that you love me. We cut to little Craig. He still has his tuxedo on from his wedding. And Taylor's like, oh my God, that's really cute. And Shep's playing with the dog. We cut to Chubbs and Kathryn. And Chubbs is like, you got a stain on your white jeans. And then Kathryn's like, why are you always calling me out all the time? And he goes, because you can't keep nothing clean. And she goes, you know what, Chubbs? And she goes, you know what, Caleb? I'm not going to go there with you because we are about to get into a fight. And I was like, dude, but what if you do have a stain on your white jeans? Are we just supposed to act like you don't have a stain on white jeans? That truly is something that you could potentially be embarrassed about. And I got to tell you, I like Kathryn. She's been through a lot, but I do get the sense that she doesn't know how to keep things clean. I do think that is potentially real, So I was like, ooh, tough one, but she's not having it. Then we cut to Naomi. She comes out of her room and she's in a white bathrobe and she plops on her white sofa with a bottle of water. And she's like, I'm dead. We cut to Craig's house. Paige, you guys, this is amazing. Paige is out of bed, but she's trying to put her clothes into her luggage. And she's like, a lot of boots I didn't wear because you guys don't have seasons. Funny old Paige. And Craig's like, I know you'll be happy to go home to New York for a little bit. And she's like, yeah. He goes, I'll send you videos from this weekend. It should be funny. And he goes, where are you going? Whitney's house. And then we get a flashback because remember, Bravo or whoever runs these shows thinks we are just idiots. That Craig saying Whitney's house, that somehow we might not believe Craig. So they're like, we'll prove it to you. We're going to flash back 2 days ago where Whitney is inviting everybody who's like, hey, my friend owns a farm near Buford. He's going to be gone. I got full run of the house. And we're back to the, I don't know why they cut the Paige Craig scene, because they're like, we need to prove that Whitney definitely invited these people. And Naomi goes, no, sorry. Paige goes, is Naomi going to be there? And she goes, yeah, but it doesn't affect me at all. And Paige is like, look, I trust you so much. It's her that I don't trust, babe. If you, if you are on this trip and she pulls you aside to have a one-on-one, that's not right. That's calculated. I mean, to pull you aside at an event that I'm at, which she did at the dog wedding. And Craig goes, no, I know, man. Trust me. Everyone sees that. Everyone sees it, Paige. And then she goes, the fact that she has the balls and then the to do that when everyone can see you is crazy to me. And then Paige does the thing where she kind of rips on it. She goes, you love finding girls who like to linger. If we ever break up, you would never see me again. And Craig secretly catalogs that information of like, promise? No. I think they will be together for a long time. I think they'll get married. Which, by the way, that was one of my theories, is like, there was like a surprise Bravo kind of announcement. And I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like Craig's going to propose to Paige on like a stage or something. But then I was like, I don't think Craig would like, hey, promote this as a big Bravo surprise. There'd be something cheesy about that, right? Like, I don't think that would happen. So Paige goes, wow, I need to get back to New York where people tell you to fuck off to your face and not behind your back. She's now said that line 2 times. She said it in the first episode of the season and now. And I'm like, Paige, whoever's writing your jokes, you need to tell them to give you a couple more because you're reusing old material. We cut to an old man riding a bike. There's little interstitial things like, on OC, you always see like the ocean, surfboarders. I don't know why, but all of a sudden they just cut to an old man riding a bike. And I was like, wait, is this coming? Do we need to pay attention to this? Is this coming to play somewhere else down the line? So Naomi, we left her on the couch. She is there again. The doorbell rings and Leva's like, I'm freezing. Let me in. And she's like, oh, just come in. The doorbell rings over and over. And so Naomi goes to the door. Why did you ring the doorbell, you weirdo? They hug. Does anybody, like, I feel like, and especially with women, like, do you guys ever not hug? Do you ever like come into like, and just like, hey, what's going on? Just like a quick wave, like, hey, good to see you. Like, is it always hugs? I feel like there's never not a time where girls are not hugging each other. So Naomi's like, I have the worst hangover. It's so bad, Leva. And I was like, Naomi, me too. And also Sophie too. And she goes, do you want coffee? Do you want coffee in a cat mug? And then we see the cat mug, and I'm like, is that like a thing? Does she have is like Naomi a big cat mug collector? Was that like a thing? Because then I was like, that's interesting. Cat mug. I don't know. I don't like it. I'll tell you that much. The cat mug really creeped me out for some reason. And Leva's like, oh, I don't know how I'm not hurting right now. How did everyone get so drunk at a dog wedding? And then we have flashback to everybody pounding drinks at the dog wedding. Like, it just drink on drink on drink on drink on drink on drink on drink. Southern drink, man. Like, they are drinkers. And that is kind of interesting. The Southern Charm show, Bravo is filled with drinkers, but the Southern Charm, it almost, they've established it as part of the Southern lifestyle, that this is a lifestyle. It's not an issue or something. This is what you do. You get around with your friends and you drink very heavily. A lot of dark liquors, a lot of champagne, but you drink heavily. It seems like something they all have in common. So it's never like, you never get those storylines of like, Dorinda, your drinking is a problem. We never really truly get those scenes anymore. And I find that interesting. Leva's phone rings and Naomi's like, you keep your phone on loud like an old lady? I'm telling you though, Naomi really, you do really see where Craig developed a psychosis, because Naomi does love to pick on people. Like, she does love to call out things. And I'm like, yo, man, your shit stinks too. Don't think you're above everything. Like, and in fact, after you made out with Whitney, I am very distrustful of your whole operation that you've got going now. It's Austen calling Leva, and he's on speakerphone. He goes, it's one of those things that you wake up and you start thinking about the things that happened the night before. And Leva and Naomi are like, oh, that's so funny, Austen. Leva goes, Austen, I love you. Oh my God, we're with you. And they go, did you after party? And he goes, yeah, me and Sierra. And Naomi's like, Sierra? Did you and Sierra have a rendezvous? And Austin's like, wouldn't you like to know? And then they laugh again, like, what is so fucking funny? Oh, did you sleep with that poor girl again that you gave her a mental breakdown? Did you do it again? I love you, Austin. Austen does a talking head. I met Sierra in Vermont and spent time with her in the Hamptons in September. She was in Charleston and we went out and one thing just led to another. I'm like, of course, Austen, one thing led to another. You went there with the sole purpose of having one thing lead to another. Leva asks if, hey, if Olivia, who he was dating, didn't have a date, would you have met up with Sierra? And Austen goes, no. And Naomi's like, so you hooked up with Sierra because you were mad at her? He goes, I wasn't mad at her. I was just like, okay, all right. Honestly, I really like Olivia, in all the capacities. What are all the capacities? I like her in all the capacities that there are out there. I like her in all of those capacities. But also, if you did like her in all of those capacities, nobody is willing to sit with themselves and sit with any kind of trauma that they're going through. Like Austen couldn't have a night off or just go out with the boys. He's like, nope, I gotta go do something with my dick. I got to. It's imperative. And also, if you just did hook up with Sierra and now you're telling two girls the next day that you really still like Olivia and all to me, it's kind of classless, but Austen gets away with it because he's so fun loving and he has like a big old smile and he's tall. Naomi says, I don't think all things are lost with Olivia, but you need to tell her. And Leva's like, yeah, I think you should. Leva in the talking head goes, why do you do this to yourself, Austen? Some people want to get kicked in the nuts and feel sad. I agree with that. Like sometimes I do have a fatalist way of looking at things. And it's like, yeah, man, I am so used to feeling sad that when I don't feel sad, I think something's wrong. Naomi goes, oh, I didn't tell you after the dog wedding, I did kiss Whitney. And Leva goes, zoiks, whoa. And Austen goes, yes. Wait a minute. This is juicy. I like this. And the talking head, Leva's like, was Naomi always attracted to Whitney? Did it just happen? Or you guys drunk? Leva asked, did you like each other? Did you think, I mean, like, did something lead into this that she's like just kind of like startled? I think we all are, just the concept of that. And like, listen, I rail against people that say Whitney is hot. Like, I'm like, you know what, guys, Whitney's rich. There's a difference. Whitney's rich. So by that standard, you get like raised up in the looks department of like, oh, he's pretty good looking because you're rich. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think this is, the differential, Naomi is, by all accounts, really beautiful, even though, like I said last week, I love her old nose, but she's still gorgeous. And Whitney, like I said, has money. And so you could say, the money makes him better looking. Austen in a talking head goes, why now? It's Whitney, it's Whitney. And Naomi goes, he spent the night here. And Leva goes, you were spooning with Whitney and you didn't even tell me? And then Austen goes, did he keep his glasses on? And she goes, no. And Austen goes, I'm sure he doesn't take his socks off. And I bet he says baby in a weird way, like, oh yeah, baby. And then Naomi goes, he did say we need to breed because mom would love it. I love having, I'd love it. Oh, Whitney, it's me, Miss Patricia. I'd love it if you would breed. She's got nice child rearing hips. And I would love, well, we better hope that baby doesn't get an old nose, right? Oh. So Naomi goes, Whitney's going to kill me. Don't tell. And I was like, don't tell Whitney's going to kill you. Listen, if you ever, guy or girl, hook up with somebody hot, you blast that shit out as loud and as far as you can go. Cause that, you're like, look at what I did. Look at what I landed. Like, why would it's like when John Hamm didn't want paparazzi pictures of him in sweatpants because they would always point out his large wiener. And like he actually said, it's not, that's really inappropriate. I'm like, inappropriate to say you had a huge wiener? I'm like, that's not inappropriate. That's a gift. Like, you can literally, like, if any like girl or guy cyber stalks you, one of the things that pops up is like John Hamm has a huge dong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's amazing. That is like, thank you so much, paparazzi, for noticing something that I had. Like, I mean, God gave me this huge dong. I didn't even work for this. This was God given. And you know what I'm saying? So like, if I feel like Whitney would want that to be told to everybody. So Leva goes, I'm not going to tell, but he might see the smile on my face. Wow, I finally got excited for this group trip we're taking. New scene, we're upbeat music, boop, 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 shots of Charleston, and then we're at Shep's house. And Taylor goes, I had makeup. Where did you put it? Did you throw it out because you don't like me wearing it? Oh, I found it. It's here. Shep's packing basketball shoes. She's like, do you think you're going to play basketball? He's like, yeah, I'm bringing basketball, shoes, shorts, jersey. And she goes, let's call Whitney and ask him what to bring. And Shep goes, okay. Whitney, hey, buddy, what should we pack? He's like, it's casual. It might be cold at night. Pack your cardigan. He laughs at his own dumb joke. And Whitney goes, hey, I have to go out there tonight and check in with the staff to make sure everything is good. So you guys will meet me there tomorrow. I love the thought of Whitney meeting with the staff. Like, that was like, could we see that show? I want to see Whitney meeting with a staff. That to me is hysterical. I don't know, for some reason of just Whitney trying to sit down with staff and go, we want this weekend to be really special. Are we a team or are we not a team? Taylor goes, did you really invite everyone? And he goes, I did. Anyone that wants to come. This place is awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they hang up with the phone and Taylor is laying on Shep and Shep goes, get off of me. And she goes, but you're holding me down, Taylor says. And he goes, I know. Now on its face, that's a really simple moment. But to me, it was much deeper. Shep says, get off of me, because Shep can't handle commitment, right? So get this weight of having a girlfriend for more than a year. It's too much. And Taylor's like, yo, but you're the one holding me down. Like, you're the one holding on to me, Shep. Like, you're the one that's keeping me here, even though you don't want me here. You see what I'm saying? That is deep. That you're not going to get that from other shows, you guys, in terms of podcasting. That's a Ryan Bailey original. We hear upbeat music, boot, 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 shot of Charleston Bridge. Venita's packing. All right. Austin's packing shoes. And then we go to Olivia's house. She packs a camouflage thing. She's like, in case we go hunting, I'm stocked. Then we go to Leva, and Leva's little kid is around more than the husband, which I find weird. And she's like, are you going to be a big boy by yourself when mommy goes? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, they have the same scene every episode with this little kid. But then I was like, does this kid genuinely babysit himself? Like, I mean, I got worried that I was like, where is your dad? Is this kid being watched after? We cut to Taylor rolling her suitcase to the bus. And she's having a hard time with it. And Shep's like, that's what happens when you pack like you're going away for a month-long vacation. Like, Shep, it's that phase of where she just can't do anything right. You're a dummy. You're stupid for packing too much, stupid. Venita's rolling her luggage. They all board this big fancy bus. Olivia comes on. She's like, this is big enough for a wedding reception. Shep is eating something that looked fried. Austen gets on and awkwardly says hey to Olivia. In a talking head, Olivia goes, well, at this point, it's awkward, and we haven't even left the parking lot. Marcie, who is Shep's cousin, she's pregnant. Her and her husband come on board, and I just don't know why they're here on the show, because it's like, if they had been on the show from the beginning, I totally understand this, but you're coming in new to the show and you're pregnant, and like, are we supposed to feel anything about what? I just like, did we need warm bodies? No offense to Marcie, she seems nice. Her husband seems like a husband, but I just, why? It felt like we just needed bodies or something. Craig comes on. He's wearing an RCO shirt, Luke Ulbrinson's company, an RCO original t-shirt. Craig hugs everyone, including Naomi. And he goes, just because Naomi's hanging out with my friends doesn't mean I'm going to stop hanging out. I'm not going to stop hanging out because I know my boundaries. And he's like, it's not normal to hang out with your exes. I mean, there's 7 other people here. Go talk to them, Craig says. Naomi in a talking head says, I'm a grown adult. I'm going to say, I think the boundaries are clear. I'm going to mind my business. He's going to mind his business and go from there. Shep says Whitney isn't coming. He's dealing with the staff. Which once again, I mean, now this is the second time like Whitney's dealing with the staff. Like, what is Whitney dealing with? Are they doing paperwork? Like, why? Like Whitney's like, we do see like a handful of staff, but like, why was there like a training thing that I feel like I want to know more about this staff being trained? Marcie goes, tell me about the place we're going to. And Shep's like, well, Frank Lloyd Wright probably is the most famous architect. He designed this house and Whitney's friend bought it in the 80s and reinstated it. The bus driver who was very well dressed, he's like, it's an hour and 15-minute ride. If you're ready to go, we'll head on up. And then they're like, we're waiting for Kathryn. We cut to Chubbs and he's like, should I bring some warm clothes to Kathryn? And he looks at what she's bringing and he's like, oh man, you're bringing nice stuff. Kathryn says, it's kind of weird. We're going on a group trip. I feel like our relationship has taken a turn really fast. And, we didn't even realize it. And Chubbs is like, I do agree with you. We are in a very weird place. Do agree with you. We're in a very weird place. She goes, yeah, the outside drama created more tension, which it shouldn't have. The outside drama created tension, which it shouldn't have. Why shouldn't it have? We get a flashback 2 months ago at Kathryn's birthday party where Chubbs is like, I talked to Venita. She's cool with you. And Kathryn's like, you aren't even loyal. And then we cut to Chubbs talking to Naomi a couple weeks ago. And Chubbs is like, I don't even really like to be around her, man. And Naomi's like, why are you even dating her? And then we get a flashback to 2 days ago. And she's like, you should have shot it down with Naomi and not listened. Oh, but you have to be a good guy. And she goes, we've been fighting so much, we should definitely take a break. And Chubbs is like, yeah, it's best we be friends. Yeah. And Kathryn's like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh my God, are they breaking up? Like, is this? And then the talking head, Kathryn goes, I think it was a weak move, me taking Chubbs back, because it's better to be alone than with someone you can't trust. And then Chubbs is like, I'm just going to leave. Okay. And she's like, yeah, you should. But it's like, no, they're not raising their voice. It's like extremely weird. I was like, did this happen like 5 times in a row and they just like rehearsed the shit out of it and now they don't have any more feelings to put into it? Like it's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna leave now. Bye. I'm like, is that the end of Chubbs? Is Chubbs done for the season? Is that like, I wish he had left. I wish he goes, okay, man, peace out. Chubbs out. And then gave like a peace sign. That would have been dope because I feel like it is goodbye for Chubbs. Like, why is Chubbs going to be like Kathryn's not even on the show barely? It's completely awkward. Mr. Paul, who's the bus driver, says, okay, let's call Kathryn. Shep calls, no answer. Olivia says, I just talked to her this morning, so something must have happened. And we all of a sudden hear phone text, like beep, beep. And Craig reads, hi, I'm not coming on trip. Hope you guys have a good time. Chubbs and I are not in a good place right now, and I don't think it's a good idea for us to go. And Venita's like, yeah, we got to get this bus moving then. Marcie asks Shep how little Craig is enjoying married life. And Shep goes, well, he's spending some time apart from his bride, just like Caleb and Kathryn. That was actually funny. Austen goes, where's your date, to Olivia? And Olivia's like, oh, he's not coming, but I enjoyed it. It was super fun. And Austen goes, I'm sure you did. And she goes, are you jealous? And he goes, a little bit. But I was on the altar with my fucking ex. And Olivia goes, and that's why I had a date. Which is like, this is the whole part. Like, Olivia is kind of like over the fact that he keeps bringing up fucking Madison. And what does he do? Like, brings up Madison immediately. It's completely, it's warped. It is. I don't know how nobody else would think that at all. And then Crybaby Austen continues his woe is me. Oh, my name is Austen Kroll. I feel so bad for myself all the time. Even though I do it to myself, I still feel bad for myself because it's about me. He's like, why would I want to be in the room with my ex who treated me horribly? Like, I generally have more fun when I don't have to see her face. But, Craig says, you'll never hear Madison say sorry. She'll be like, oh, what? I was just telling everyone how big of a pussy you are. And Austin's like, yeah, I know. Which is kind of funny. I think it is kind of funny that Madison potentially is the only person that doesn't think Austin's the best. Like everybody else is like, Austin, you're so tall. You have such a nice smile. And Madison's like, you're a pussy. So Olivia goes, if I was his fiance, Madison's fiance, and I heard she was still taunting her ex, I'd be really freaked out. And Taylor is like, yeah, why can't she just be nice? And Austin says to Venita, I hope you're not texting her everything that we say to Venita, because Venita is Madison's friend. And Austin goes, she goes, nope, I'm not. And Austin goes, I just hope not. And Venita's like, you want to see it? And holds up her phone. And he's like, nope, because I don't roll that way. I don't roll that way. It was so, what a dork. What a dork. I hope you're not texting everything we say. And by the way, Venita probably is texting her everything. Who cares? Like that literally, what, so what, Austin? What, you think it's going to ruin your chances of getting back together with Madison? It's not happening, man. New scene, the bus is driving in the woods. We're at Yemase, Yemasee, in case you guys are wanting to spell it at home. But it is like, we're here, and we see Aldebras. And this is like just a chorus of, ooh, wow, lots of wow noises, you guys. Wow. I think I even said wow when I was watching it. Shep goes, you guys ready? Wow, look at this. Taylor goes, this is beautiful. Austin and Craig jump out of the bus, and Austin's like, sick dismount, dude. Whitney goes, hello, everybody. I have been talking with the staff the entire last evening. Everybody is prepared. And Shep's like, hey, brother. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. A lot of hey, bros. Leva says, I am still shocked about Naomi and Whitney. It's like finding out your cousin's hooked up. And Whitney's like, all right, y'all, we're going to give you a little tour. I'm going to put a little Miss Pat Twine. All right, I'm Whitney, y'all. I'm 57 years young. He's like, so this is a Frank Lloyd Wright house. He was considered America's greatest architect. He built this in 1941. And basically, you see the style here. It's called organic architecture. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is literally amazing. And Craig goes, I'm into it. Matthew, the house manager, is there. When he's like, they were about to bulldoze this place. My friend saved it and restored it to its natural splendor. Austin says this house is set up perfectly for Whitney's aesthetic, 70s porno house. But you think kind of like Whitney is 57, so 70s probably were like a big decade for him. Whitney goes, I'll give you a little tour. This is the master bedroom. This is where I'm staying. All the furniture is Frank Lloyd Wright as well. Venita and Leva, you're going to sleep here. Marcie, you're in this cottage over here. And we see, and it all does look really beautiful and really stylized. I love stuff like that. Austen and Craig, Craig says, are we getting punked? Whitney is doing something nice for us. And in reality, I'm like, what? I want to know more. I want to go deeper into this relationship of the Whitney of it all, because also, you could argue Whitney is doing something nice by having them on the show in the first place. Olivia is with Austin and Taylor, Olivia is with Shep and Taylor in their room. It's a 2-bathroom, 2-bedroom setup. And then he goes, Naomi, I'm saving the best for you. You can have this one, a king size bed, or you can have this other one. So it gives her 2 options. And Austin says, wow, I'm trying so hard not to look at Leva during this. I'm trying hard here, because he's, he knows they've hooked up too. And Austin goes, a secret like this is, I give you 24 hours, but I already did tell Shep and Taylor. And he goes, fine. It's a 12-hour grace period for secrets like this. When he's like, well, we got a whole sundry list of activities, horseback riding, we got ATVs, and then we'll chill for a little bit, get charged up, and then 30 minutes, let's meet out here for lunch. Marcie goes, I love this place. It's awesome. I'm so glad you're here with me, to her husband. And I'm like, once again, who are you people? Why are we following you? Austin says, Craig, we can high five through the walls. And they're, being bros through the walls, trying to high five each other. And Craig goes, put your hand up. I can feel you. There's a huge lizard in Olivia's room. And Shep's like, I'm not good at serpents. I'm not good with serpents. I don't think, is a lizard a serpent? I'm not good with serpents. Olivia says, I like the wilderness. I just don't want the wilderness on me. And Shep says, Taylor, take care of it. Put it in a cup. Do it. And Taylor's like, I'm going to kill him. And she's like, no, you're not. Put him in a cup. I love that Shep is like scared of it, but like is yelling at Taylor to do it. It's so weird. They all get these Aldebross gift bags where there's like a nice book and like dill pickle peanuts, which, oh my God, you guys, have you ever had dill pickle popcorn? Holy shit. Changed my life. They sell it at Disneyland, and I fell in love with it. I was just like, has there ever been any? Now I'm kind of like curious about dill pickle peanuts. I love dill pickles. Now this is a 30-minute segment where I talk about my love of dill pickles. Taylor says, I guess the cat is out of the bag. Whitney's saying, do you want the bedroom, this bedroom or that bedroom? Taylor's talking about, hinting around Olivia that they hooked up, but Olivia can't put it together because I don't think Olivia is possibly the, sharpest tool in the shed. But she's like, wait, did they hook up? And Shep goes, that's the word on the street, according to Austen. We see all the sandwiches laid out for lunch in the food room, buffet wraps. We meet Chef Randy. Randy's one of my favorite names. Olivia sits down across from Craig and she goes, oh, I bet I took Austen's chair. And Craig goes, we can separate sometimes, me and Austen. I'm like, okay, cool. Marcie says she's going to walk around the pond because she can't do activities. And I'm like, great, glad you're here, Marcie. Enjoy the pond walk. Olivia says to Craig, I haven't talked to Austen since the wedding. And Craig's like, is that because your date was there? And Craig's like smirking. We get a flashback of her date being cute and see Austen like noticing him. And Olivia's like, Austen jumped to all kinds of conclusions. Everybody's deciding if they're going to ride horses or ATVs. And Olivia goes, Craig, I see people like you and Naomi, you have it figured out. And Craig's like, kind of. But she's like, Madison is just like a different kind of ex. I mean, I look over in the corner of the dog wedding, he's sitting with her. He can't get enough of her, And Craig's like, hey, with him, we have to be like, yo, man, this is fucking crazy. And Olivia goes, I adore him, but I'm not going to stick around to try to figure it out. And Austen sees them talking. He's like, oh my God, are you talking about me? New scene. All the guys are getting on the ATVs and Leva and Venita are on ATVs and like, woo, fun, yeah. This is like his big action scene. It's like, and then Taylor, Naomi, and Olivia are meeting Rick and Tammy, and they're their horseback riding guides. Olivia says, the last horse I rode, I had to put a quarter in to ride it. All right, Olivia. Rick goes, just have a good time and relax, ladies. We cut to the ATVs. Then we cut to the horses and they're like, oh, this is so peaceful. Look at this. It's a beautiful property. And Taylor's like, oh my God. And in the fall, all the leaves will change. It's perfect. And Naomi says, watching Olivia on a horse is like watching a train wreck in slow motion. And we see Olivia run into a tree with the horse. And Rick is like, we call that a hairbrush. Venita is on the ATV and she's like, don't let this outfit fool you, honey. I can get down and dirty. Good times. They take a break so the horses can get a breather. And Olivia says, I take it back. I'm glad I did this, the horses. And Taylor, for some reason in this scene, Taylor's dressed like a cow. She has this top on, which is like cow circle. I don't know. And then Shep rides up in the ATV and he's like, Taylor. And Taylor's like, yeah, Shep always yells for me, like, Taylor, water. And I'm sometimes like, get your own water. And Taylor goes to Naomi, goes, hey, what about you? Any new love interests in your life? And Naomi goes, no. And Taylor's like, really? I mean, yeah. And Olivia goes, I mean, Naomi, I asked Naomi what it's like dating in Charleston, and she said horrible. And I'm like, good talk. And Naomi goes, yeah, did not enjoy, would not recommend. And Olivia's mind is at a standstill with Zach. I'm like, didn't the dog wedding just house it? What was the time period in between the dog wedding and this? I feel like there was like a swath of time. Naomi tells Olivia, Austen, that night of the dog wedding, hung out with Sierra that night. And Olivia, like always having things come to her very last minute, she's like, wait, what? Huh? Wait, Sierra? Huh? Wait, he has feelings that I went on a date with somebody new that I had no connection with, but then he goes on a date that night with someone from his past that he did have an emotional connection with it. I mean, it truly is like it's not equal at all. Naomi says Madison was tit for tat in their relationship. Like, okay, you do this, I'm going to do that to you. And Olivia's like, I just want to be able to trust the person that I'm with. And to see Austen in the flesh with Madison, it's alarming. I think I'm going to need 2 therapists after this, she says. Use BetterHelp, you guys. We cut to commercial. We're back to the fun on the ATVs again. Whee! And then Whitney's like, there's going to be dinner in an hour and a half. And Whitney's mustache is really prevalent here, and it did make me think about shaving mine off when I saw this. Whitney says, well, why don't you guys enjoy becoming one with nature? And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Let's go drink beers. And they high five. We cut to night. There's a fire pit going. Craig and Austen are together drinking. Craig has a mannequin that he's deemed Princess Yellow Cloud. And he's like, let's put this in Shep's bed. It's like fun bro stuff, you know. Taylor says in her room, should we chug an emergency to Olivia? And Olivia goes, I thought you were going to say chug something else. And Taylor goes, Frank Lloyd Wright did not plan makeup stations for women. And then we meet Jacqueline, who is putting the dinner together for tonight. And Whitney's like, well, all degenerates, before they sit down to dinner, they're going to need to get liquored up first. And Jacqueline's like, we'll have a preset glass of water to help with that. And he's like, well, it's not going to be needed. And we'll see. You know, I'm like, let the poor people drink water. You're just shoving booze on them. We go to Marcie, and Marcie's like on her app, on her phone, she goes, look, 21 days until I'm due. And her husband's like, 21 days. Wow. Thank you, guys. And then Shep comes in with a beer for him. And she's like, none for me. And he's like, you want some bourbon? She's like, no. Craig tells Austen, hey, we're roomies again in their scene. And Austen tells Craig, hey, I'm glad I did see Sierra. But it all stems from Olivia bringing a date. You know, it bums me out for sure. And I try to act like it didn't, but it did. Now, let me just throw this your way, is that this is a man who does not want to accept responsibility ever for anything that he actually did, because this is bullshit. Like, oh, I'm glad I did Sierra. It all stems from Olivia. No, it all stems from you wanting to do something with your dick. Like, there's no, like, you're going to blame Olivia for this. This is what made you do something bad. We cut to Taylor saying, I don't know if they hooked up. You can't assume. We're back in that Taylor scene because she's talking to Olivia and says, hey, maybe him and Sierra didn't hook up. And Olivia's like, yeah, I mean, you can't assume, but we'll have to have a conversation about it. And guys, I want to go out on a limb and go, it is all right to assume. Let's assume that they definitely did hook up. Austen says to Craig, hey, what did you and Olivia talk about earlier? And Craig's like, were you spying on us? Craig says, you know, Madison talking to you and you talking to Madison is just weird, because you could be spending that time talking to a person that it's worth talking to. And then Craig tells Austen the Naomi story about like him pulling him away at the dog party. And it's like, you don't get to pull me around. Like, I'm not in love with you anymore. I'm in love with Paige, Craig tells Austen. We cut to Naomi and Leva and Venita going, so does Craig know what's going on? And Naomi's like, I hope not. And Naomi says, hey, I hooked up with Whitney. And Venita's like, what? And then I'm talking to her, she goes, you are creme de la creme, Naomi. Is this a joke? Why are you hooking up with Whitney? Naomi says, I'm not saying it's not fucking weird, but I'm not going to hide it and try not to do it. And if, you know, if it was Austen or Shep, I would never have even considered hooking up with them. But I like that Whitney, but Whitney, sure, you know. And then Leva goes, well, with Craig, he just gets kind of mean and he has really big feelings. He's like a baby about it. So Naomi's like, oh yeah, no. So we cut back to Austen and Craig, and Austen's like, okay, so you have no feelings for Naomi anymore. You don't care who she dates, whatever. And he's like, no. And she's like, okay, well, she made out with Whitney. And Craig's like, what do you mean made out? Did Whitney get drunk and tell you? And Austin's like, Craig, let other people discuss it. I don't want to discuss it. Let other people do it. And Craig's like, Austen, you're not being a really good friend or partner. I love when men get like this is very sensitive. Like, why are you not meeting my needs right now, Austen? You're not being a really good friend. You need to be a really good friend right now. Be a really good friend. You're not even being a friend. I need you to be a really good friend. And Craig goes, how many times did they do it? And Craig goes, Austen, I told you everything. For 2 years, I told you everyone your girlfriend had slept with. I love that was, I told you every time, I told you every person that Madison cheated on with you for 2 years. And Austin's like, okay, fine. Like, who do you think told me? I heard it straight from the horse's mouth. And Craig's like, what the fuck? And then Craig goes, to go from me to Whitney? That's not fun. Whitney comes in because he's been like spying out there. He goes, I've been listening to you for the last 15 minutes. You guys are fucking idiots. Oh my God. What are you? You are idiots. Oh my God. Craig goes, what's going on with you and Naomi? Rumor is you hooked up. And he goes, 'tis true, man. 'Tis true. And he goes, it's not. When he's like, it's not just hookup, man. It's but it's nobody's business. So we don't need to explain ourselves in any capacity. The second time capacity is used. I wonder if Austen learned the word capacity from Whitney. And then Craig's like, fuck you, Whitney, and pats him on the shoulder as he walks out to take a shower. We cut to Shep having a maker's mark in ginger. And Whitney's out there with Shep. And Shep's like, looking good, buddy. You're so corporate. And Whitney's like, so fucking corporate. And he goes, just by happenstance, I just talked to frickin' Frack, Austen and Craig. I hear them screaming my name, interrogating Austen about me and Naomi hooking up. So aggressive. And Shep's like, well, everyone is happy, so I wouldn't worry about it. And Whitney's like, well, except for Craig, he's been a pain in the ass as always. And Craig walks up with Austen, boys, and Shep's like, Craig, walking through Spanish moss, because we see Spanish moss all around. Craig's trying to take pictures of the Spanish moss. When he says, I'm sorry, Craig, that I walked in on your and Austen's intimate moment. And Craig goes, I could not care less. And when it was an intimate moment and a very heated, conversation. Craig says, I don't understand Naomi's obsession with you, but whatever, it's your life. I mean, Naomi can do whatever she wants. But in a talking head, Craig goes, it's just shady for Whitney. And he goes, bro code rules are complicated. At times, I don't even understand it. But still, my ex-girlfriend, like, what the fuck? I like when Craig tries to I'm going to break it down for you guys. Bro code rules. It's hard. It's a class that you're gonna have to take if you really want to study up on bro code. Now they're around on fire, and Shep is telling Craig it's not personal. It's not. And Craig goes, I was just disappointed to hear that. The girls come up, and Whitney asks Olivia, can I get you a proper drink and a proper glass? And Whitney's like, Austen, why don't you go do it? And then Olivia's like, nope. You offered first, Whitney. You snooze, you lose. And Whitney's like, ha, 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 great one. Austen sitting next to Olivia. It's awkward. Austen goes, here we are. She's like, here we are. And Venita comes out. Naomi is wearing leather pants. It looks like pleather or vinyl pants. Craig goes, there is no way in the world you could go 1 year back or as far back as you want and say that Naomi would one day be hooking up with Whitney. Not a single person would believe it. Yet here we are. Whitney offers Naomi his coat, and he's like, oh, I'm not cold yet. And then Whitney's like, you look sparkly. And he's like, no, it's not sparkly, just latexy. Shep says, when's dinner, you guys? I'm getting a little hungry. And Whitney goes in to tell him to bring out the food. The staff that he met with 3 days ago for training. Shep says, Craig, human attraction, and stuff like that. It's irrational. It's completely irrational. I love Shep is trying to explain biology to Craig. Like, when you want to hook up, it's very unnatural. And Craig goes, I get it. Whatever. I'm happy to be out of it in any capacity. There's the capacity word again. Like, what is going on? Then we cut to Austen and Taylor. And Taylor says, Austen says to Taylor, I want to talk to Olivia. And Taylor's like, she wants to talk to you as well. How are you feeling about her? And Austen goes, and Taylor's like, make up your mind, Austen, make up your mind. I'm like, Taylor's frustrated with Austen, when in reality, she's super frustrated with Shep not making up his mind. Shep says, hey, so what's going on? Are you happy? To Craig. And Craig's like, yeah, man, I'm such a happy place. But I needed, for my own personal growth and happiness, I needed to remove myself from all of these past friends and influences and make my own path. And Shep goes, may I present a theory to you? And I'm like, ooh, a theory. And Craig's like, sure. And he goes, and you can tell me to shut the fuck up. I think part of you likes being around people who doesn't know the old Craig from 9 years ago, and you resent the fact that we knew you at your lowest. Does that make sense? Look at the big brain on Shep. My God, it does make sense to me. I mean, totally. Have you ever done that, of like been picked on in your friend group, and then you go away to a different friend group, and all of a sudden you're not bullied in that friend group, and you're like, wait, these people think I'm cool? My other friend group just makes fun of me all the time. And Craig goes, of course it makes sense, but I don't agree with your theory. Whitney says, well, you've become more of an asshole, Craig. Shep says, the people that know you the best are us. And Craig says, you weren't the best for me. It wasn't appropriate how you treated me. You were terrible to me, terrible. And I had to remove myself, from you. You're one of the biggest terrible influences. And I was like, damn, this is like so harsh. And Craig continues, you were against all my entrepreneurship. You were like, are you crazy? My progression in life, oh yeah. Shep goes, oh, so you're saying your progression in life has been in spite of me? And Naomi, I think, says, this is not about Craig and I's relationship. Oh, no, sorry. Shep goes, this is not about Craig and I's relationship. His anger right here is about Whitney and Naomi. And this is all done in a talking head. And he goes, snap out of it, asshole. Craig goes, all the put downs with the sewing and the stupid pillows that aren't stupid. And Naomi goes, that actually was me. I'm the one that said all that stuff, Craig. And he goes, yeah. And I removed myself from the situation. And Leva says, Shep did it in a joking, brotherly way. And Shep goes, Craig, you needed acceptance from me for years. You've always had a chip on your shoulder about Charleston and status, and as a total chip on your shoulder. And Leva says, Shep, you like to poke people, right? And Shep goes, yeah, that's tough love. And Leva goes, well, it doesn't land for him. And then Shep goes, this is not a fucking kumbaya. That's not how I have any relationship in my life. And Taylor's like, relax, Shep. And Shep's like, yeah, turns to Marcie's husband. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Kumbaya. And Naomi says, isn't that better than what you're doing now? And Shep goes, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change. And Craig goes, okay, buddy, you clearly have some shit going on. And he gets up. And Leva says, he just wants validation. And Shep's like, this is all in his head. And Whitney says, Craig, for years, obviously, we've been fucking with you. We didn't realize how sensitive you were. And Craig says, that's putting it on me. That's not right. That's a dig. Like, Craig is truly in his head about this. And Whitney goes, you can't play the victim. You're not a fucking victim. And Craig's like, they will do anything they can to justify their behavior, which we all do that, right? Austen did that the other night with the date. With, hooking up with Sierra again, of like, I did it because Olivia brought a date. Whitney goes, we're fucking with you because we can't help it. And Craig goes, it sounds like a lot of jealousy. And Shep says, jealous? Come on, meet Craig jealous. And at this point, Shep falls over in a chair, but everybody starts laughing. And he goes, jealous? What a fucking laughable concept. Ba-ba-doo. And that's the end of that episode, you guys. So next episode, we are still at Aldebross. We have a continuation of this dinner that night. We see Austen defending Shep and Craig going, you are a crazy person. Just for the record, Austen, we are not friends anymore. Craig really does have like that 9-year-old mentality where you're like, I cease to be your friend, dude. We have an egg toss. And then Shep's like, Taylor, it didn't fucking break, you fucking idiot. And everybody hears like, don't talk to her that way. And then we have a scene where Naomi's talking to Taylor going, that's abusive. And I can tell that you're used to it. And then we have Austen and Olivia talking. And Olivia's like, what did you do with her? Sierra, did you like go home with her? And he's like, Austin's just like staring. And I'm like, oh, great. So bapa-doo, bapa-dee-dee-dee, you guys. I thought that was a really good episode. I do love that when you can tell these people have real relationships that have lasted a long time, which is what, the Craig thing, especially with all of these guys, you really see that fractured emotional state that friends can sometimes put you in. And I think that does make for interesting reality television. So I really enjoyed this episode because it kind of got to explore those kind of feelings. So I still am enjoying watching Southern Charm quite a bit, even though, like I always say, it's very lopsided in sometimes how. But these last two episodes have been really kind of interesting. I'm really excited to see what next week brings. But that is it, folks. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great week this week. Remember to join us on Tuesday for our pop culture roundup. We'll be doing 5 shows this week. Patreon reviews, my other podcast, What the Kids Are Watching. Go support all of that stuff. I really totally dig you guys, and thank you for pulling me out of my funk, because I've been self-loathing in bed all day after being violently hungover. Great start to the week. Bye.